it was pretty fun to watch the first episode of season 3. So whatever I say is going to be with season 3, episode 1 in mind. So just be warned. So after this trailer, I'll be talking about what I see and everything. So let's just enjoy it really quickly. As always, spoiler warnings. Where the fuck is my subtitle? What? I just had it a moment ago. There it is. So where's the subtitle? Oh my god. YouTube subtitle doesn't subtitle everything. YouTube, you're a billion-dollar company. Come on. I want as many people as possible to love me deeply, even for just 1 second or for a long time. You are the ideal. I'm gonna put my money on daddy issues. I'm gonna put my money on mommy issues. I'm gonna put my money on orphan. Person with whom you are destined should eat and drink to the extreme of delicious food. So you are gluttony. I'm gonna put my money on he eats people. Well, it looks like Emilia's gonna fight Wrath. She's talking about Puck, by the way. Damn, that's a nice song. I'm sorry, but one of these random guys is not going to last very long against Wilhelm. Like, I'm sorry. There is no way one of these random masked minion number 423 is going to last a long time against Wilhelm. There is no chance. No way! Something 90-minute episode. It was good. Look, man, Wilhelm's a Chad. There's no way a random minion is, like, gonna stop him. Unfortunately, as with all the trailers, the song is the thing that gets claimed. But I like the tune. I'll be honest, it's a really good band. And the fact that they use them also for Overlord is really nice. It's a really good in-house tune, so I sort of like it. What would truly be poetic, and again, final warning, because, you know, episode 1 of season 3. So you've been warned. What would be really poetic is if the Wrath Girl ends up being Fortuna. Like I mentioned when we watched the episode, I kind of feel like it might be her, but at the same time, I feel like that would be too obvious, so it's a little bit of a red herring. But it would be really poetic if Emilia is actually fighting the Wrath Girl, and it turns out to be Fortuna, because, you know, Betelgeuse was Betelgeuse, right? So it would sort of fit that, I don't want to call it a rhyme, but you know what I mean? Like one of them, then the second person, but she doesn't remember neither of them. So you know what I mean? They're kind of enemies, and then sort of by fighting them, a little bit of that memory might come back. Something might happen. The bandages might get removed, or she might say something that triggers a memory. You know what I mean? Something like that. So it kind of feels appropriate for her to be Fortuna, but then at the same time, it feels like it's too easy and it's too simple to figure out from just bam, I just saw her. You know what I mean? Like the hair color, the eye. I think the eye looks just about right with the eye color. And I feel it's too obvious, and then as a result, they don't want to do that because it's too obvious. But the fact that I'm second guessing myself means that they might be able to sort of like, push it under the rug, and you know what I mean? So it's like, I don't want to put too many chips on It's Fortuna, but like at the moment, it kind of feels that way. But it's also a good opportunity to just sort of pull the rug right under you, and it's someone else because you think it's Fortuna, so it's like, bam. So, yeah. That being said, as soon as, like, here's the thing, right? Reinhardt wasn't there when the whale was attacked. Reinhardt wasn't there when the rabbits were attacked. Reinhardt wasn't there when, Betelgeuse and whatever was, causing problems. And now Reinhardt is here. I mean, like, everyone's fighting the minions because, come on, Reinhardt's going to start one-shotting everyone. Which is kind of like, you know what I mean? Because you have to basically, and I'm sorry to repeat what we were talking about before, when you have someone that's got that much firepower, you have to somehow, for story's sake, make it so that they're not around. Otherwise, they're just going to one-shot everything. You know what I mean? So you kind of got to have them not there. Or have him tied up fighting someone else, or, it's something. Otherwise, Reinhardt's just going to walk around, take out everyone, and season's done. You know what I mean? So, yeah. But they show Emilia fighting Wrathgirl. But I think that kind of explains why you've got, and I'm going to put my money on Gluttony here. I'm going to put my money on possibly Lust. I'm going to put my money on possibly Envy. I don't know, white-haired boy might be Envy or something else, but like, whatever. But you've got multiple people here, so you've got the opportunity to keep Reinhardt at least a little bit busy. Because it looked like Subaru's going to be busy with Gluttony, right? Because he kind of used the whip and has been training to use a whip, so he's probably going to use a whip as a weapon. It looked like the guy bit a whip. So I'm going to put my money on Subaru's fighting him. Wrathgirl, Emilia's fighting her, which means Reinhardt could be fighting white-haired boy. Maybe, you'd hope so. Where the fuck's Pandora? That's the real question. Pandora with her, you're not here anymore. You're back home with your 6 wives. Like, you're 2,000 kilometers away. That just feels overpowered. But, like, you know what I mean? That's fine. I'm personally waiting for Pandora to show. And then you just hear the Elden Ring boss music. And then you're sort of like, that's not my theme song. That's not my theme song, so I'm sort of personally waiting for that. That's going to be entertaining, even though she's absolutely crazy and sadistic. But that's what makes it so entertaining. We already know Regulus 2 times in Season 2. Well, I mean, they showed him at the end of Season 2, and they're teasing him in the trailer, and he already bumped into Subaru in Episode 1. So, like, it's fair to say he's going to play a part in this season. What sort of part? We don't know. But it should be interesting. The music looks good, and I like it. That being said, while we're on the topic, I gotta watch those little mini 2-minute episode short things before we watch episode 2 of season 3. So we'll probably do that just before episode 2 of season 3, or we'll watch at the same time episode 1 of season 3 drops or something like that. I have been reading comments. I have been responding to comments. It's really interesting. I really do like it. I like that people pointed out that the reason why Subaru kind of lost his shit a little bit towards the end of the episode was because of the, I think it's called witch factor, that he went through, because Wrath made him not only be physically connected and take the damage of the person that was thrown off the tower, but he also felt what everyone else was feeling, which in that moment was sadism and enjoying the suffering and all that sort of stuff. And so for him, it's completely contrary to his nature. And so that kind of threw him off, like, holy shit, I just spent like 3-4 minutes enjoying this person being, tortured and then thrown off, and then, oh my God, like a bunny rabbit that's running around, it can die of a heart attack, right? And so that made him, to quote him, sick in his soul. So it wasn't so much him dying as it was him going through that experience, which is just like, what the fuck? You know what I mean? Because, I don't think he's sadistic, but yeah, it's like, so that's a cool thing to point out. And the second thing that we had was a lot of people thought when I said he needs to be prepared and be ready for when he might die, as he needs to go and train to die, which I must have not explained it properly or said it properly, because that is kind of off. What I meant by that was, how do I describe this? Because, yeah, fair point. No one's died and come back before, so you can't, relive that experience. But you could do things to mentally sort of fortify yourself, and you've kind of been down that road a few times. You've kind of reset a few times. You kind of know what to expect. And at the very least, give yourself a little bit of an advantage for when it happens by giving yourself a few guardrails. Like, give you an example, for example. If it was to happen, instead of going into a full-blown panic attack or being thrown off balance because you're surprised and you never saw it coming, it's a little bit of accepting that it is a very real possibility of it happening. But when it does happen, okay, it happened, I died, what the fuck? Run through that mental checklist of like, okay, it's fine, I'm okay, I'm back before I died. What did I see? What did I hear? What steps did I take before that happened? Did I notice something? Did someone say something? How can I prevent it from happening? As opposed to sort of going in blind, not going through this mental preparation ahead of time, and then just having to deal with it in the moment. It's a little bit like a fear response, right? Say for example, you're scared of heights, or you're scared to ride a bike or something, right? You get on that bike or you get somewhere high and the adrenaline starts hitting you. You get the fight or flight response. Your hands are shaking, you're sweating, the energy hits you, the adrenaline is hitting you like a truck, your heartbeat goes through the roof, you're thinking quicker. If you go into that blind, you start to panic. You're like, oh my God, I'm scared. You could lock up, you could run away, you could do something silly. But if ahead of time, you're sort of thinking, okay, I know that I'm afraid of this or I'm not comfortable with this. And when I encounter this, I will not feel comfortable. But I expect and accept that this will happen. And so when it does happen, here's what I'm going to try to do. And in the case of, say, heights or riding a bike, you're going to be like, okay, I'm feeling uncomfortable, but it's okay. Breathe, for 1. 2, okay, it's okay to feel pain, panic, all this sort of stuff, but let's bring it in. What can I do? Because these are precious moments that you're saving yourself, you're grounding yourself, you're sort of giving yourself a mental checklist, you're giving yourself a guardrail that you can grab onto when this situation happens, and that can sort of rein you in. And that, in a literal life or death situation where if you don't figure it out in the next 10 minutes, you might die again, kind of is a big deal. And with the amount of people saying that it's sort of not fair because, dying is obviously going to have a psychological strain on you, no doubt. We saw it in season 1. He cracked like an egg, right? He cracked like an egg. He kept getting killed in the mansion. And then he got killed by Rem once or twice, and then he tried to, solve that problem, and then he got killed by a dog once or twice, and it's like, what the hell is going on? And he tried all this other stuff, and then he kept dying, and then he just started crying, and then Emilia was like, lap pillow, and then he kind of calmed down because, lap pillows are quite comfortable. And then, you know what I mean? Like, I understand there is a psychological threshold, but if you're spending a year in peacetime, don't you want to give yourself every conceivable advantage you can? Because preparing yourself isn't just a physical thing where you do courses, you do whatever exercise you're doing, you try to become more proficient in whatever weapons you want to become proficient in. There is also a spiritual and mental element to it. Are you able to think quickly? Are you able to keep your cool and collected? Are you able to notice things when the adrenaline is hitting you? Are you able to recall things, quickly? How quickly can you recall them? How's your problem solving? How's your strategic thinking? How's your tactical thinking? All these things are going to come into play. And so I kind of hope he did some of that in that year. But you're absolutely right. Because of that witch factor, that's what threw him off balance. He could have. I hope he did. But if he didn't do any of this mental and spiritual preparation in 52 weeks and only did the physical, he did himself a disservice. Because training is a lot more than just physical. There's a lot of spiritual and mental elements to it. That's what I meant. Maybe I didn't phrase it properly. Maybe I didn't spend enough time on it. Maybe I was too focused on him just losing balance and not noticing Witch Factor and all these other things. Possibly true. Probably true. Probably true. But at the time, that was my reaction. At the time, that's what I thought of. And that's kind of my point, isn't it? Doesn't that kind of prove my point? In the moment, I thought of one thing and I didn't even consider something else. I didn't think further. I didn't dig deeper into it. I didn't pay attention to what he literally said. I more so heard what he said, came to a conclusion, ran with it. You know what I mean? Kind of probably should take a little bit of my own advice, but you see the psychological element of it that comes into play and how easy it is to come to the wrong conclusion in the heat of the moment? That's kind of what you want to work to avoid, especially in a life or death situation. Luckily for me, I'm not going to die watching a video, right? I'm just going to get yelled at on the internet by some people. Fair enough. I'm used to it. But, like, you get what I mean. That's the point I was trying to make. And we'll see how that plays out. We'll see how that plays out. Either way, it's going to be fun. And if it's anything like Season 1 and 2, good luck trying to figure out what the F is going on. Because Season 1 and 2 led us on a goose chase. It didn't really lead us on a goose chase. That's not actually right. It gave us the whole Satella is bad. Satella is the evil witch. Satella is the reason why everything is going to shit. And so, I at least just accepted it. Satella is the big bad. And so I focused on trying to figure out what is Satella's motivation. And one of the conclusions that I came to was that Satella doesn't possess a physical body, and so she wants to possess Emilia to take physical form in this world and rule it, and, you know, a little bit like Sauron with the One Ring, you know, reign and be the master of everything. And I didn't even think for a minute that maybe Satella isn't the bad person here. It might be someone else using Satella as a scapegoat. And I just sort of ran with it for about a season and a half and kept theory crafting and all these other things. And then, bam! The witch's picnic or the witch's tea ceremony or whatever you want to call it, and a wild Satella appears, and you kind of go, oh shit, you know? And then everyone's like, sup? And I'm like, what do you mean sup? What do you mean sup? You know, isn't she supposed to be this really bad person? Turns out she's not. Oh, okay. Well, if she's not, then who's the bad person? And then it's like, dun dun dun. Exactly. And then, you know, a wild Pandora appears, but, you know, it might not necessarily be Pandora, right? Like, Pandora is a person, but it's dangerous to assume that she's, you know, the bad one. But then we saw that damn door, and she needed the key. Where the F is the key? Emilia knows where's the key. Okay, where the hell does Emilia know where the key is? Okay, well, she's the daughter of, I think her name is Wrath the Witch. You know, the blonde girl, they'll punch the shit out of you, even though for whatever reason Satella looks like Emilia. But then again, they are sisters, and genetics does work in a weird way, but let's not go there. But, like, you know what I mean? What is behind the door? Okay, maybe that's some, you know what I mean? And so the story is kind of like, question mark. Good luck. You're not going to figure it out. You don't have enough pieces to the puzzle. Like, you don't even know who the bad person is at this point. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like, yeah, if Season 3 is anything like Season 1 and 2, it's going to give us a few pieces to the puzzle, and then it's going to point out that the puzzle is much bigger than we thought. I put together a few pieces, and I thought it was a nice little lake or something, and a few trees or something, and then it turned out this is like this little tiny part of the puzzle, and the puzzle's like this freaking big. And like, GG with that. Why do you think Emilia is Minerva's daughter? Someone said something in the tea party, and I faintly remember going, how the F is that your daughter? Don't tell me, but I faintly remember something. That's the memory I have of it. That being said, I have a memory of a memory, which might not be 100% accurate. As you can see, memory, fuzzy memory theory. The brain makes it up as it goes along because it can't recall everything. Probably need to take my own medicine and have a guideline on how to think of things. In Season 1 or 2, nothing is said about that. Then what the F do I remember from the tea party? See, now I have to go and rewatch the goddamn tea parties. And just the tea parties, because that's where, like, a lot of the plot dump exposition happened. The tea parties. That and trauma. I can never look at tea the same way again. It doesn't help the fact that it looks like human fluids. At least coffee does the courtesy of looking nothing like human fluids. At least we know that the father of Emilia is the brother of Fortuna. Well, Fortuna was her auntie, so like, you know, auntie. Which was kind of cute. But then, where was Emilia's mum? Where was Emilia's dad? Why the F is Pandora like running around? Plot twist, Pandora could be the evil step auntie. Or twice removed step auntie, or whatever. Family trees are weird in English. In Serbian, we at least have the courtesy of everyone in the family tree has a particular title. We have a word for every single family relationship on the tree, no matter how many times removed you are. Whereas, you know, in English, it's like cousins. So, like, you know, maybe. But yeah, that's basically it. I think maybe those... Damn it, I have to rewatch the Tea Parties at some point. I mean, I was considering rewatching my original reactions just to see what I thought at certain parts and soak up additional information. The problem is always time, because let's face it, 24 episode seasons, 48 episodes, me talking, that's like 3 months worth of streams. It's a tough one. And we'll cross that bridge when we get there. You're missing so much info from Time Break. This is why I sometimes prefer hopping on the train really late, like we did with things like Attack on Titan. I think I hopped on the train when the final season part 2 was releasing or something. And so I basically got to go through everything and retain all that information because I was watching it in rapid succession and referring back to it. So it went from short-term memory to, at the very least, medium-term memory. And I still face palm at season 2 at some points. Like, how did you think that conversation was going to go? But anyway, let's not go there. Whereas with this one, it was like, watch season 1. Season 2 was technically current and coming out. And then enjoy, I believe it's like a 2-year break. Yeah. Why was there a 2-year break? I mean, it's Kadokawa, man. They can afford to animate this thing. But, like, anyway, I don't know. Maybe they wanted to release more light novels or, like, video games or something. Or maybe they didn't write the story. But my understanding was that the web novel was written a while ago. And so that's getting adapted into the light novels and that's getting adapted into anime. So, like, the content's there. What's the holdup? You know what I mean? Just, like, lock the guy in a room and give him energy drinks and just... You know what I mean? Anyways, let's take a quick break and watch some Spice and Wolf. So far, so good. Hey, we have combat. Combat's good. At least the combat's not going to be boring. You've got 3 witch... I don't call them generals, but like a cult. Witch cult. Let's call them witch cult leaders. Witch cult middle management. Yes. You've got 3 witch cult middle management people at the same time. That should be fun. At least that's gonna be fun. Archbishops. Thank you. How did I forget that? How did I forget? See what I mean? There's a problem. I'm forgetting things. Alright, quick little break and watch some Spice and Wolf, because at least I'm not forgetting that. Luckily, like, next week I'm going to be blind to what's going on. So, quick little break and let's do it. Luckily, this thing didn't lag. So, like, so far, so good. God, I thought this was only going to take 5 minutes. We ended up talking about Re Zero for like 20 minutes. I might have to rewatch this thing at some point. And then people are going to be like, go watch the director's cut. And I'm going to be like, Those are like an hour each. And there's probably more scenes of Roswell completely naked sexually harassing Subaru. I don't need more of that. God damn it, Roswell. Quick little break and let's watch some Spice and Wolf. Oh my god.
Hey, did I hand you a shrinking potion by accident? I could have sworn that was the gender swapping one.
Don't be hating. She's fun size, that's all. She doesn't even have to get on her knees to blow.
You want to add anything to that conversation?
Nope, I'm good. In fact, I think your new size makes you an even more formidable and stealthy ninja.